Life Chanuan's dietary theory is as follows. Regardless of what food we consume, we should always maintain a sense of gratitude. Keeping a heart filled with gratitude is the secret to maximizing the energy obtained from food. When we feel grateful, the internal molecular structure of all foods, including water, transforms into a beautiful structure that benefits human health. When we eat with a positive mindset, the fundamental particles of the food quickly and joyfully enter the digestive system and are rapidly absorbed by the body. This not only improves the utilization of the food's nutritional value, but also minimizes food waste. True Christians have a good habit of praying before meals to thank God for the food. This is the secret of diet. This practice is essentially a way of reprocessing the food, optimizing its nutritional components, and maximizing the effective nutritional value utilized by the body. People who enjoy drinking know that drinking with close friends or people who share similar temperaments makes it hard to get drunk, even after many drinks. In contrast, drinking with opponents or people of incompatible temperaments makes it easier to get drunk after just a few drinks. The atmosphere at the table directly affects the effects of alcohol. The degree of intoxication is not mainly due to the alcohol itself, but to the drinker's mindset. Most people know from experience that food consumed when angry is prone to causing indigestion and gastrointestinal issues, while food consumed in a joyful mood, even when eaten in excess, is easier to digest. This is a result of the mindset while eating. Therefore, we should maintain a joyful and grateful mindset while eating. This is the true secret of dietary health. Remember, when people are in a joyful state, their mental state is at its best, their thinking is sharpest, and their spirit is most beautiful. Similarly, food consumed in a joyful state has the highest nutritional value and is easiest to absorb and digest. Therefore, food also needs joy. So, when you eat, make sure to bring joy to the food. Tell the food, "You are beautiful, you are fragrant, you look great, thank you." In response, the food will say, "The host is wonderful, the host is good, the host is elegant, thank you, host." Why not do it? People who have endured hardships or have a beautiful soul are most likely to be grateful. For someone like me, Xiefeng, who has endured hunger, I understand the value and preciousness of food. Therefore, I rarely suffer from gastrointestinal diseases. My eating habits are irregular and chaotic. I eat cold and hard foods without hesitation, leftover dishes without complaint, and even moldy or spoiled food. When I am happy, I can eat as much as 2 meals in one sitting, and sometimes only a little in a day. My wife jealously says, "The greatest creator is so biased, giving you a healthy stomach." But she doesn't know that it's not about the stomach, but about my attitude toward food. I am someone who almost starved to death, so I have a natural appreciation for food. My speed of eating is renowned. During school, while other students chewed slowly after getting their food from the dining hall, I would immediately start eating while walking, and by the time I reached the dormitory, I had already finished my food. Generally, I finish a meal in no more than 10 minutes, if not for considering those around me. Taiji Celestial, Wanyan Celestial, and Tianshan Celestial have all experienced my eating speed. I never consider the nutritional value of the food. I eat whatever is available and don't think about the nutritional balance. During my 4 years of high school, I never had breakfast, only ate a cornmeal bun for lunch, and had simple noodle soup for dinner. There was no meat, and vegetables were scarce. During those 4 years, I don't remember having any illnesses. My body was very thin but strong. No matter how rough or simple the food, as long as it fills my stomach and prevents hunger, I am satisfied. This has been my greatest desire for food throughout my life. Moreover, with the abundance of food now, I feel like I'm living in heaven, just in terms of eating. Especially when eating fruits like apples and watermelons, the first thought that comes to mind is the greatest creator. The fruits are perfectly made by the greatest creator, with just the right amount of moisture and sweetness, making them endlessly enjoyable and never tiresome. So, people, be grateful when drinking water or eating food. This is not only beneficial for your physical health, but also for your mental well-being. Embrace a mindset of gratitude while eating. This is the secret of diet. Remember it well. 知晓来生益处多. The many benefits of knowing about the afterlife. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. There is a story about two like-minded explorers on an adventure in a desert. After losing their way, they found that the water they carried was only enough to sustain them for half a day. They were left with a dilemma. They could either share the remaining water and eventually perish together, or one person could stay behind while the other took all the water to search for a way out and find a new water source, promising to return for the one who stayed. Since death seemed inevitable, they decided to take a slim chance at survival. One person stayed behind, and the gun was left with him. They agreed that the one who stayed would fire the gun every 2 hours to help the other person determine their direction and eventually find him. At first, the person who stayed behind still had hope. He lay in a sandpit and fired the gun every 2 hours, but each time he was met with endless silence. After 4 shots, his spirit was on the brink of collapse, with only one bullet left. His thoughts wandered to his home and loved ones, and an overwhelming sense of helplessness seized his heart. How he longed to live. However, he thought he was being rational. He believed his companion would not return. If he fired the last shot into the air, he would eventually die of thirst. He did not want to endure such suffering, so he bravely placed the gun to his head and fired, ending his precious life. Half an hour later, his companion, carrying enough water, found him, guided by the sound of the final gunshot. A tragedy that could have been avoided occurred because the one left behind could not see what the future held. If he had known that his companion had already found water and was on his way back, the tragedy would not have happened. Similar tragedies happen to humans every day, particularly to those who, under the guise of rationality, believe there is no afterlife and hold no hope for it. Whether from logical reasoning, global evidence proving the existence of an afterlife, the teachings of Jesus and Buddha, or the direct visions of those with spiritual insight, it is clear that life indeed continues beyond death. The main reason most people do not believe in the afterlife is that they are overly rational. Clearly, the companion was coming with water, but the person left in the desert could not see it. Because he could not see it, he rationally refused to believe it. Isn't this a tragedy? If we do not believe in an afterlife, then our only choice is to make the most of this life, to strive and toil in the present. If life has no afterlife, then all morality is hypocritical. Whoever can live better than others is deemed successful. In this view, fighting, robbing, oppressing, and coercion become justified. It becomes a matter of survival of the fittest. The successful are heroes, the failures are fools. It is about who is more cunning, who can outwit whom. The victor becomes the king, the defeated, a bandit. What use is there for conscience? What use for morality? If we do not believe in an afterlife, then in times of success, one might become complacent, arrogant, and lawless. In times of failure, one might blame the heavens, the earth, and their parents, becoming irritable and hostile towards society and nature. When all other options are exhausted, the only path left may be to point the gun at one's own head and pull the trigger, ending one's life. However, if we understand that life has an afterlife, we can leisurely enjoy life, whether this life is marked by success or failure. This life is merely one journey in the continuum of life. Why be overly concerned? In the end, heroes and fools alike are reduced to dust, leaving behind just a mound of dirt covered by grass. Only life continues to move forward. If we know there is an afterlife, we will not be distracted by fleeting illusions, but will view life as a process of profound transformation, focusing on how to shape a better future for our life. A life with hope and a life without it are fundamentally different. Those who do not acknowledge an afterlife face only a dead end, without hope. Facing death, they are left with helplessness and endless fear. But those who believe in the afterlife see a brighter future. They face death calmly, gracefully, and with optimism. Such a life is beyond the reach of those who live merely to survive. Some say, even if there is an afterlife, we do not know it in this life, so it has no meaning for the living. It is better to live each day as it comes and make the most of it. Without hope or faith in an afterlife, how can we live well? Even birds seem to live more joyfully than humans. Are we to live like animals? A person who believes in the afterlife has a fundamentally different inner world than one who does not. Noble ideals and the highest moral values are pursued and upheld by those who firmly believe in the afterlife, while inhumane laws and crimes are committed by those who do not. Is there an afterlife? Ask Jesus Christ. Ask Buddha Shakyamuni. Ask Xiefeng, and you will find the answer. 如何运用自由意志? How to use free will. Xiefeng. November 24th, 2015. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Humans possess free will. When the script and characters are set, how the story unfolds is determined by one's free will. People are incapable of fully aligning with the Tao. The very places where they fail to align with the Tao are precisely caused by the exercise of their free will. Humans think, weigh pros and cons, strategize, and seek benefits while avoiding harm. These are all manifestations of free will. People experience troubles, pain, anxiety, worry, and fear, and these feelings are the sensations of consciousness, further proving the existence of free will. When free will conflicts with the script's storyline and character arrangements, these feelings are born. When we shop at a mall filled with a dazzling array of goods, we make choices, and this process of selection is a full expression of free will. Television has broadcast blind date programs, where the dating process is a demonstration of free will in action. If humans lacked free will, they would simply become biological robots, and the act of making choices would not occur. Chanyuan celestials living in the home should have experienced this. When you are in a one-on-one situation, you may internally resist the guide's instruction to avoid such interactions, even feeling that you are right and the guide is wrong. However, you dare not openly resist. On one hand, you want to follow the guide's direction, but on the other, you find it difficult to let go. As a result, confusion and pain arise within. This is the conflict between free will and the script's storyline. The Buddha's teaching is no self. A person with no self has no free will. The Buddha's state is no self. If there is a self, then it is not the Buddha. The requirement for aligning with the Tao and heaven is to align one's free will with the program of the Tao and the laws of heaven, not to oppose them. In other words, one should willingly, joyfully, and happily align with the script's storyline and character arrangements, embodying each role naturally, step by step, with the heart and mind in harmony. Stubbornness is an extreme manifestation of free will. When asked to go east, you insist on going west. When asked to play, you insist on working. When asked to move, you insist on being still. When asked to take something off, you insist on putting something on. In this way, conflicts intensify, and suffering and calamities occur more frequently. By observing the people around you, historical figures, or characters in television dramas, you will find that those who are stubborn often lead difficult lives, experience misfortune, and meet unfortunate ends. This is why the Buddha taught us to eliminate attachment to the self. Each Chanyuan celestial living in the home can also discover this secret from personal experience. When you adhere to the Chanyuan values and strictly follow the guide's roadmap, you will experience happiness, joy, freedom, and well-being. However, when you violate the Chanyuan values and diverge from the guide's roadmap, you will feel suppressed, depressed, and uncomfortable, unable to enjoy happiness and freedom. This confusion is caused by the desire to exercise free will. The sage embraces the One to be a model for the world. Why embrace the One? Because embracing the One brings ease, simplicity, freedom, and happiness. Without embracing the One, every step becomes difficult and disaster is inevitable. In the universe, it means aligning with the greatest creator. In a nation, aligning with the head of the government. In a group, aligning with the highest authority. If you choose to oppose, it is like an egg striking a rock, leaving yourself battered and bruised. To embrace the One, you must eliminate attachment to the self, and to eliminate attachment to the self, you must curb your free will as much as possible when it conflicts with the storyline. Free will is a gift from the greatest creator, and anything given by the greatest creator should be used. Not using it is wrong, but how should it be used? The universal script is vast and complex. Only by opening the Dharma eye and Buddha eye can one glimpse some of its mysteries. By looking at the long river of history, through the lens of centuries and millennia, by examining minute details, and by understanding the characteristics of the Tao and its laws of expression, one may gain some insight. Most people, however, have ordinary eyes and limited vision, unable to comprehend what this great script is portraying and how it is unfolding. The only broad and open road is to follow the way of the greatest creator, to listen to and adhere to the teachings and guidance of gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and sages. Relying on our own limited wisdom to understand the truth of the universe is like climbing a tree to catch a fish. Using our own free will to find a shortcut to heaven is nothing more than a fool's dream. 我们是否应当保持善良? Should we maintain kindness? 写评 October 8th, 2015. Translation edited by Yu. All teachings of gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and sages almost always revolve around kindness. The saying good deeds bring good rewards is a universal law. I believe that the teachings of gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and sages are correct. People should be kind because kindness is the most beautiful flower in the soul garden. But the question is, what is kindness? Once, a group of black people pitifully called me daddy, and as a result, they scammed me out of hundreds of thousands of yuan. Was I being kind? I don't think I was kind. I was foolish. Once, I wholeheartedly cared for someone, but in the end, that person belittled and looked down on me. Was I being kind? I don't think I was kind. I was ignorant. Once, I sincerely praised a certain government, a certain party, and a certain leader, but they ended up taking over my home and driving me to the brink of despair. Was I being kind? I don't think I was kind. I was aiding the wicked. My praise was an irrational evil. If someone ends another person's life, is that kindness or evil? If you think it's evil, then you must oppose euthanasia, right? If you think it's kindness, then should many people be sent to their graves? When a cat catches a mouse, is the cat being kind or evil? When a bird eats a worm, and the worm eats crops, are the bird and the worm kind or evil? Ask a blooming poppy flower, is it kind or evil? I seem to have mentioned in elementary self-improvement that I neither want to be a good person nor a bad person. Living according to the Creator's intentions and the will of the greatest Creator, I believe, is true kindness. 降服魔性 Conquering Demonic Nature. 写评 November 7th, 2012. Translation edited by Yu. There are demons in the universe, and they are on the same level as gods, Buddhas, and super-celestial beings, just beneath the greatest creator. Due to the holographic nature of the universe, all beings possess demonic nature, just as they possess divine, Buddha, and celestial nature. The nature that dominates a being determines whether they are a god, Buddha, demon, celestial being, or something else like a spirit, monster, human, or animal. If divine nature fills them, they are a god. If Buddha nature fills them, they are a Buddha. If demonic nature dominates, they are a demon. If human nature is dominant, they are human, and so on. It is easy for humans to become demons because human nature includes demonic nature. There are many TV stations on Earth broadcasting their signals. A television set has many channels corresponding to these broadcasts, and the program displayed depends on which channel the TV is tuned to. People are like televisions. When their consciousness is tuned to the demonic channel, they receive information from demons and are becoming demonic. Conversely, if tuned to the Buddha channel, they receive information from Buddhas and are moving closer to Buddhahood. Grass doesn't grow on stones, and few insects live on snowy mountains because the conditions for their existence are not present. A person dominated by divine or Buddha nature does not have the conditions to become demonic, but when someone exhibits the following characteristics, they are easily controlled by demons and can become one. Arrogance. Arrogance is the best condition for becoming demonic. Once a person becomes arrogant, they are on the same frequency as demons and have become a demonic offspring. Self-centeredness. When a person is self-centered in everything, disregarding nature, society, or others' feelings, and is always talking about their own viewpoints, understanding, insights, experiences, feelings, troubles, pains, and misfortunes, always blaming others or society and never considering their own faults, they are prone to arguments, anger, and disputes. Such a person is on the path to becoming demonic. Secrecy. If someone acts in secret, afraid of being discovered, often talks behind others' backs, spreads rumors, or digs into others' private matters, they are close to being demonic. Greed and deceit. An insatiable desire for wealth and power, wanting to possess all the good things in the world, with a heart full of private desires and greed, leads to the use of any means to achieve one's goals. This includes being ruthless, deceitful, and engaging in all sorts of evils. This is demonic. Mystical deception. Lacking facts, science, logic, or spiritual awareness, using the guise of being in touch with gods, Buddhas, or higher beings to achieve selfish goals, using spiritual powers, spells, witchcraft, or dreams to confuse and control others. This is demonic. Intense jealousy. Instead of appreciating and praising all things beautiful, attacking and destroying them. Instead of encouraging and affirming others' strengths and possessions, finding ways to undermine and condemn them. Instead of learning from others' merits and virtues, constantly criticizing and blaming. This leads to envy and destruction, which is demonic behavior. Extreme selfishness. Never grateful or appreciative, everything revolves around satisfying oneself. When their desires are not met, they either scream hysterically or harbor silent hatred. Any dissatisfaction leads them to throw away the greatest Creator's grace and others' kindness. The saying "white-eyed wolf" refers to such people. These individuals are unwilling to take responsibility, never finding fault in themselves but always blaming others for any mistakes. They always consider their own feelings but never care about others' feelings, being unreasonable and incomprehensible. They always think others treat them poorly without considering whether they treat others poorly. This is a sign of demonic nature. Threatening with death. Whenever dissatisfied or frustrated, constantly threatening others with death to force them to meet their demands or desires. This is the behavior of a demonic offspring. These 8 traits, arrogance, self-centeredness, secrecy, greed and deceit, mystical deception, intense jealousy, extreme selfishness, and threatening with death, are the conditions and soil for becoming demonic. When these traits are present, one will be on the path to demonic control, becoming a demonic offspring. How to conquer demonic nature? Answer: reverence for the greatest Creator, for life, and for nature. Let the light of the greatest Creator fill your heart and strengthen your faith in walking the way of the greatest Creator. Live humbly, prioritize giving, be honest and open in all actions. Avoid spiritualism and the display of spiritual powers, spells, witchcraft. Don't fabricate dreams. Always see the good in others and society and rejoice in others' happiness. Analyze and judge matters from others' perspectives. Remain calm in all situations. Never threaten others with death and avoid extreme actions. By doing so, you can conquer your demonic nature, walk the way of light and happiness, and ultimately attain supreme authentic enlightenment and reach the blissful realms. If you do not conquer your demonic nature, you will suffer greatly and fall into the lower level of life, enduring endless pain. 人的仇敌会是自己家里的人. Your enemies will be the members of your own household. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qinyu. Matthew 10 verse 36 states, "A man's enemies will be the members of his own household." If these words were spoken by an ordinary person, they would likely be met with outrage, possibly leading to their expulsion from the family or being labeled as ungrateful, disrespectful, or even insane. The issue is that these words were spoken by the Son of God, the Savior of humanity, Jesus Christ. It's hard to fathom why the members of one's own household would be considered one's enemies. Aren't family members the ones who care about our daily needs, our comfort and pain? Would strangers be concerned about us? Without our family members, what reason would there be to continue living? If we don't care for our family, can we still be considered human? If our family members are our enemies, should we abandon them and leave home? That seems absurd. But hold on, Jesus' words carry profound meaning. This statement is not directed at ordinary people, but at those who wish to walk the path of the greatest Creator, at sages and saints. As Jesus said, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to tear you to pieces." The Buddha only taught the Dharma to those who sought the Mahayana, the highest path, not to those content with lesser vehicles. The celestial Laozi also said, "The highest type of man hears the Tao and practices it diligently." The average man hears the Tao and practices it now and then. The lowest type of man hears the Tao and laughs at it loudly. If he did not laugh, it would not be the Tao. Jesus came to save us, to lead us to the kingdom of heaven, which is to say, to enjoy the blissful life of the kingdom of the greatest creator. According to the revelations of Life Genuine, this means breaking free from the constraints of human existence and living in heaven. The 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world. How can a person on earth live in heaven? My fellow townsfolk, comrades, friends, and brothers, this is not an easy task. It requires a complete transformation, transcending the ordinary. Jesus taught us, "Truly I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny." What Jesus means is that if we do not repay all our earthly debts, even down to the last penny, we will never escape the bonds of this world and enter heaven. It is said, when given a drop of water, one should repay it with a spring, and repaying debts is a universal truth. Favors are not debts, but in times of need, one might sell even their cooking pot, goes the saying. No matter what kind of debt it is, monetary, emotional, or even a blood debt, if we owe it, we must repay it. If we cannot repay it in this life, we will have to repay it in the next, even if it means becoming oxen, horses, pigs, or dogs. Until all debts are settled, we can forget about living in heaven. Here's the problem. Throughout our lives, how much debt have we accumulated with our family members? The debt of our parents' nurturing, the debt of our children's filial piety, the debt of the care and help from siblings and relatives, and the debt of the unwavering love and care from our spouses. How do we repay these debts? If we cannot repay these debts, we cannot enter the kingdom of heaven and enjoy its beautiful life. With this in mind, aren't our family members the stumbling blocks preventing us from reaching heaven? Aren't they our enemies? Furthermore, when we wish to focus on spiritual cultivation, to leave the secular world behind, to aspire to the life of heaven and engage in discussions with fellow seekers, to devote all our time and energy to selfless, willing service, who holds us back? Isn't it our family members? Aren't these family members our enemies? Living in this world, when will it ever be enough? When will the suffering of this world end? The pain of separation by death, illness, disaster, unfulfilled desires, the worries of food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. How long will it last? The burdens of electricity bills, water bills, fuel costs, phone bills, transportation fees, tuition fees, and so on. When will it all come to an end? When humanity's wisdom was relatively shallow, and we had no understanding of the life of heaven or the way to it, a bad life is better than a good death. But now that we are on the brink of universal awakening, with some standing at the forefront of subconscious awakening and a multitude of angels descending to earth to clearly depict the scenes of heaven, the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world, and point out the way to it, it is better to die a good death than live a bad life. We should strive to break free from the bonds of family and the inherent consciousness of humanity and wholeheartedly march toward heaven. What does it mean to be reborn? What does it mean to transcend the mundane? Can one be reborn easily? Can one transcend the mundane while clinging to thoughts of bringing glory to one's ancestors and leaving a lasting legacy? If one cannot let go of anything, personal biases, narrow-minded views, or the belief that the world revolves around oneself, how can one transcend the mundane? If one cannot let go of one's country, ethnicity, political party, religion, or family, how can one transcend the mundane? If one cannot let go of one's spouse, how can one transcend the mundane and ascend to the clouds? This is mine. That is mine. What is truly yours? When you die, none of it is yours. The debts you owe are yours. Some ignorant people think death ends all debts. Keep dreaming. Even after death, you must continue to repay your debts. Death is not the final destination of life. There is no way to settle all your debts through death. Stop burning incense and kowtowing, and start repaying your debts. The people in your household are your enemies. Repay their debts first. Until every penny is repaid, forget about living in heaven. People, guard your spouses, families, ethnicities, religions, political parties, and countries well, for they are your tickets to reincarnation. Wealthy people, Guard your money well, for it is your ticket to hell. 从人到仙的八大觉悟，智慧篇93. The Eight Great Awakenings from Human to Celestial Being, the Chapter of Wisdom. Article 93. Xiefeng. January 12, 2010. Translation edited by Qinyu. The awakened are like rice and wheat. The ignorant are like weeds and grass. The awakened are like light and fragrance. The ignorant are like darkness and stench. The awakened ascend step by step, while the ignorant stumble into ditches. The awakened are beacons of light. The ignorant are tangled messes. Awareness refers to sensation and perception. Enlightenment refers to reflecting on these perceptions. Awakening means moving from confusion to clarity, from obscurity to distinctness, from chaos to order, and from darkness to light. An awakened being is a Buddha. An awakened being is a celestial being. The purpose of awakening is to free oneself from troubles, escape the sea of suffering, exit the realm of inevitability, and reach the shore of freedom. The best shortcut to awakening: board the Dharma ship created by Buddha Shakyamuni, follow the course guided by Christ Jesus, and adhere to the route guided by the Dayform Buddha, heading towards the kingdom of the ancestral Buddha, the greatest creator, the Elysium world. The transition from the human realm to the heavenly realm, from human to celestial being, requires 8 great awakenings. Awakening to life. Life is a non-material structure with spirituality. It undergoes endless transmigrations without annihilation. Awakening to life and death. Life and death are only appearances, not essences, forms, not truth. Boundless grasses across the plains come and go with every season. Wildfires never quite consume them. They are tall once more in the spring wind. When your boat reaches the other shore, you simply disembark. Awakening to karma. You reap what you sow, cucumbers for cucumbers, beans for beans, and heaven's net is vast, yet nothing escapes it. Awakening to space. There are 20 parallel worlds in the universe, 36 dimensional spaces, and paradises and hells. Paradises are for perfect lives. Hells are for defective ones. There are different spaces of life for different life states. Each life lives in a space corresponding to their life state. Awakening to predestined relationships. All relationships are predestined. Relationships with ghosts will drop one to the netherworld. Relationships with celestial beings will raise one to a fairyland. If one's debts are not paid off, they cannot get out of their plight. And if one does not have enough merits and virtue, they cannot reach the fairyland. Awakening to mind and nature. Reality is a projection of consciousness. Consciousness creates reality. Form gives birth to the mind, but mind can transcend over form. Minds are the most important of the 3 realms, and consciousness is the most important of all rules. Fragrances will attract butterflies to flowers, and pure hearts will be frequented by celestial beings. Minds that do not abide anywhere are Tathagata. Nature is the characteristic of structure. It is Buddha. Awakening to the 8 diagram arrays. The universe has 36, 8 diagram arrays, and they are the sources of games. They are full of fun. For example, power, money, fame, gain, carnal pleasure, and affection are 8 diagram arrays from which no one can detach themselves once they become entrapped. It is only after one has acquired supreme authentic wisdom that they can transcend beyond the 3 realms and escape the 5 elements. Awakening to the true origin. Everything has its source, its origin. Consciousness, structure, and energy are the 3 constituent elements of the universe. All others are as a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow, as dew and lightning. Thus, you should meditate upon them. The greatest creator is the source of everything and therefore the real origin. If you understand him and follow his way, then any of the 84,000 methods will lead you to a smooth path. Otherwise, you will be at the edge of a cliff. How does one awaken? If one can achieve harmony of body and soul through self-improvement and self-refinement, they will cultivate true spirit, great talent, and concentrated virtues within themselves. Without the great aspiration, it is difficult to grasp the profundities of the universe and to awaken fully. By accomplishing the following, the light within their soul will shine brighter. their consciousness will grow clearer, and they will ultimately awaken. Hold and maintain the One. Be free from ego and selfishness. Revere the greatest creator, life, and nature wholeheartedly. Follow the way of the greatest creator. Dedicate your heart and soul to creating a reality where the talented are valued. The world becomes one big family. No one pockets anything found on the ground, and doors are left unbolted at night. Foster a harmonious world where the wind and rain come in their time, and everyone is happy, joyous, free, and blessed. 小脑和大脑智慧篇91 The Cerebellum and the Brain, the Chapter of Wisdom, Article 91. Xiefeng, November 18, 2009. Translation edited by Qin Yu. In terms of intelligence, there are four types of people. Both the cerebellum and the brain are intelligent. Both the cerebellum and the brain are unintelligent. The cerebellum is intelligent, but the brain is unintelligent. The cerebellum is unintelligent, but the brain is intelligent. The characteristics and behaviors of these four types of people are as follows. Both the cerebellum and the brain are intelligent. Always embrace unity, staying aligned with the top leader and in harmony with core figures. Consistently associate with excellent and successful people. Avoid deep interactions with fools and maintain limited contact with them. Agile and flexible, not rigidly adhering to dogmas or doctrines, and acting solely to achieve ultimate goals. Never anger or trouble those who hold significant value in one's life. Avoid arguments, instead firmly pursuing personal goals. Diligent and hardworking, meticulous in all tasks, wise in major issues and cautious in minor ones. Independent-minded, clear about priorities, urgency, and not swayed by trends or emotions. Adaptable and harmonious, avoiding conflicts unless absolutely necessary, being kind to others, and not harming life. 2. Both the cerebellum and the brain are unintelligent. Frequently oppose the top leader and create conflicts with core figures. Always making suggestions, criticizing others, meddling in affairs, nagging, and seeking attention. Lacks a clear stance, unsure of their identity and significance, unable to differentiate priorities and urgency. Unable to determine what is most important in life or who is most important to them. Unable to accomplish big tasks, unwilling to do small tasks, and even if they do them poorly. Lacks tolerance, has a bad temper, is superficial, shows off, with high self-regard but low self-awareness. Confused and often used as a test subject or sacrificed by others, still blindly loyal. Lacks personal beliefs and convictions, lacks foundation, drifting aimlessly like a leaf in the wind. 3. The cerebellum is intelligent, but the brain is unintelligent. Knowledgeable and experienced but lacks wisdom, unclear about who the top leader is. Active in doing things and achieving results, but overly focused on oneself, often considering oneself important. Adheres to principles and regulations but frequently offends others, especially those close or helpful. Smart and capable of learning and doing many things, but loves to show off and stubbornly sticks to their own views. Good at reading people and adapting to situations, but lacks persistence and a firm goal. Skilled at self-preservation but fails to protect the top leader, focusing only on protecting oneself rather than the group. Quick to spot others' shortcomings but lacks self-awareness. Adaptable but lacks a solid foundation, often neglecting the importance of a strong base while focusing on change. 4. The cerebellum is unintelligent, but the brain is intelligent. Knows who the top leader is and respects them but relies too much on trivial cleverness. Has firm beliefs, clear goals, and understands many principles but is too lazy to practice them. Has grand ambitions and clear plans, good at untangling confusion but lacks integrity and is overly cunning. Always wants to do big things but shirks small tasks, being careless and unmindful in minor matters. Too shrewd, making it difficult for others to trust them sincerely, creating a sense of unease. Overly rational and intimidating, making deep emotional connections challenging. Understands outlines and key points, maintains alignment with core figures, but lacks refinement and artistic expression, leading to embarrassing situations. Possesses courage, strategy, wisdom, and insight but lacks spiritual sensitivity, neglecting the development of the inner self. 一伤处便是薄弱缺陷处，智慧篇89. That which is easily hurt is weak and flawed. The Chapter of Wisdom, Article 89. Xiefeng, October 30th, 2009. Let us first observe some phenomena. A cracked egg becomes a place where flies and other insects swarm. If the egg were intact, these insects would not come to lay their eggs. The parts of fruit that first rot are those that have been bruised or bitten by insects. Where balloons burst, springs bend, branches break, and ropes fray are all at the weakest and most effective points. Places with corpses are where crows, eagles, and other scavengers gather. To manipulate someone, spies, gangsters, politicians, and schemers first identify the person's weak points and defects. For example, if someone is lustful, they use seduction. If they are greedy for money, they bribe them with large sums. If they crave fame and vanity, they flatter and praise them. If they are power-hungry, they promise high positions. Using provocations can trick hot-headed individuals like Zhang Fei. Using contempt can spur courageous people like Guan Yu into action. Using superior skills can infuriate self-satisfied perfectionists like Zhou Yu. If a certain part of the body is frequently in pain, it indicates dysfunction or lack of health in that area. It has been proven that vulnerable areas are indeed weak points and defects. Practicing self-improvement means identifying and strengthening one's weak points and correcting one's defects. The more perfected an area is, the less likely it is to be harmed, and the more imperfect an area is, the more likely it is to suffer harm and attack. Xiang Yu, the warlord, once captured the father of Liu Bang, who would later become the first emperor of the Han dynasty, and threatened to cook him to coerce Liu Bang into surrendering. Liu Bang, however, calmly responded that if Xiang Yu decided to cook his father, he should serve him a bowl of the soup afterward, causing Xiang Yu's threat to fail. Another example involves Zhuge Liang, the renowned strategist, who once sent Sima Yi a set of women's clothing, intending to insult him according to the societal values of the time, provoke his anger, and thereby force him to recklessly leave the city and engage in battle. However, Sima Yi took the opposite approach by putting on the women's clothes and cheerfully telling the messenger that the attire, sent by Chancellor Zhuge, fit well and looked nice, thus thanking him and foiling Zhuge Liang's plan. People are imperfect and always have their weaknesses and defects. To make someone betray their conscience or soul, to compel them to face danger or hardship, to deceive them, to make them lose their rationality, or to make them voluntarily be driven or enslaved, one can use money, reputation, status, beauty, magic, divine powers, visions of paradise, threats, intimidation, coercion, emotions, morality, benevolence, truth, promises, and so on to satisfy their greed or instill fear. If a person remains unaffected by these factors, then no matter what schemes are employed, they remain unmoved, and such a person is perfect, a saint. By progressing a little further from this foundation, they become a celestial being or a Buddha. Everyone should examine their own weaknesses and defects, asking themselves what they need most, what they fear most, what they are most averse to, what they love and hate most. Once these what-s are clarified, one will understand what needs to be strengthened and cultivated. For instance, if one desperately desires magical powers or divine abilities, they will inevitably be manipulated by so-called masters who claim to possess such powers. If one is eager to reach paradise, those who exploit religious sentiments can make one delirious and confused, like a person lost in madness. If one loves their country intensely, politicians can easily send them to the battlefield as cannon fodder. If one places great importance on family and personal relationships, societal mechanisms can bind their mind to family duties, causing a lifetime of toil and preventing them from achieving individuality and freedom. If one values the pure and perfect love of a lover, partner, or spouse, they may suffer from jealousy, anger, and irrationality. They may become consumed by emotions, losing rationality, and experiencing endless suffering. They may pledge their life and death for love, tossing and turning in anguish, unable to find peace. When there is no obstruction, there is no pain. When there is obstruction, there is pain. This principle applies not only to the physical body, but also to the mind and spirit. When one cannot think things through, the obstruction causes distress, pain, frustration, and confusion. For example, if someone insults you by saying you are not even a thing, you may feel unbearable pain and anger. But if you think it through, you will realize that a person is inherently a person, not a thing. So why be troubled by such words? If a third party comes between you and your lover, you may feel as if your heart has been stabbed or a piece of your flesh has been cut out. However, if you think it through, you will realize that the mountains and rivers are like dust, and human life, though it may last 100 years, passes in the blink of an eye. The ever-changing emotions between people are unreliable and cannot last forever. So why be troubled by illusions within illusions and dreams within dreams? Similarly, if someone cheats you out of your money or deprives you of your rights, or if you lose everything for some other reason, you may feel deep regret and despair. But if you think it through, you will realize that people come into this world empty-handed and leave empty-handed. A lifetime of striving for possession and ownership ultimately ends in letting go. As long as you have your health, misfortune may be a blessing in disguise, and you may find new opportunities and discover new horizons. All phenomena are empty, neither arising nor ceasing, neither defiled nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing. Worries and fears arise from attachments in the heart. If the heart is free from attachments, there will be no worries, fears, suffering, or disputes, and no disturbances from worldly matters. Without easy-to-injure spots, there will be no faults, leading to a state of enlightenment, reaching the realm of celestial beings. The more one possesses, the more troubles one will have. If one reaches a state of having nothing and possessing everything, it is not easy to be harmed. Without self, what can harm me? I have no power, no money, no fame, no lust, no emotion, no status, no country, no religion, no political party, no class, no family, no relatives, no lover, no property, no teacher, no school, no attachment, no organization, no sect, no greed, no desire, no anger, no ignorance. The mind is not attached to anything, no action, no contention, no desire for magic, no desire for supernatural powers, no desire to achieve great things, no form of lifetime, no form of others, no form of morality, no form of justice, no laws, no rules, no precepts, no taboos. We adapt to circumstances, embrace relationships as they naturally come and go, act according to our natures, and seize opportunities as they arise. How can I be harmed? Where can I be injured? What is destined to come will come, and what is destined to go will go. Do not cling, do not be attached. Life is a journey of life through the human world. When the journey ends, a new life begins elsewhere. When you can let go completely at any time, where can you be injured? In summary, we are easily injured because we are imperfect and too attached to the fleeting. As we approach perfection and enrich our inner selves, external factors will have less power to harm us. At this point, we are close to becoming celestial beings, Buddhas, and entering the kingdom of freedom and the Elysium world. 宿命及宿命的超越 Fate and Transcending Fate. Xiefeng. September 22nd, 2008. The doctrine of fatalism asserts that all changes and developments in everything, including the birth, aging, illness, death, fortune, and misfortune, longevity, or premature death of all living beings, are predetermined by fate or heavenly mandate. The individual life is powerless and can only go with the flow of destiny. For the myriad of living beings, the view of fatalism is accurate. Everything is predestined, and not a bit is up to us. One cannot choose the environment and era of one's birth, cannot choose one's parents, race, or nationality. There are 18 factors in life that one cannot manage by oneself. This is fate, and one can only resign to it. The Tao is a kind of program, a perfect operating mechanism that no person or force can resist. One can only follow it. The Earth can only revolve around the Sun in the solar system, and the Moon can only orbit the Earth. This is the fate of the Earth and the Moon, and they have no choice but to follow this path. Spring is for growth, summer is for maturation, autumn is for harvest, and winter is for storage. A peach tree can only produce peaches, and an apricot tree can only produce apricots. This is the fate of plants, and they can only be as they are. Fish can only live in water. Big fish eat small fish eat shrimp, herbivores eat grass, carnivores eat meat, cats catch mice, dogs guard homes, and a pig's fate is to end up in the slaughterhouse from birth. This is the fate of animals. It is inevitable. Humans experience birth, aging, illness, and death. As humans, one cannot escape this cycle of life and death. This is fate. Every life form has its own trajectory of existence and development, determined by a program, which is not allowed to change at will and is difficult to alter by oneself. This is fate. The entire universe, including countless beings within it, is organized according to a program. It can be said that everything is acting out according to a script. Each life form, each person, is a character predetermined by the script and can only act according to its plot. When to be born, when to die, when to gain wealth, when to fall ill, when to suffer calamities, when to become an official, and so on. All is pre-planned. This is fate, and people can only follow it. Who can escape this inevitable fate? Very few can manage it. Actors must perform according to the scriptwriter's script and the director's requirements. When crying is needed, they must cry. When laughing is needed, they must laugh. When anger is required, they must be angry. When joy is needed, they must show joy. Even the words they speak are pre-designed and beyond their control. The world is a grand script, and people living in this grand script are merely characters within it. Who is the protagonist? Who is a supporting actor? Who is an extra? When someone appears, when someone exits, all is planned out. Although people may not feel this, and each person may feel that everything is their choice and decision, in reality, all our words and actions are already arranged. Many things, even if one is unwilling, must be done. Some words, even if one does not wish to say, must be spoken. The person who gave birth to us, we must call her mother, not grandmother or sister. Since it is a script, time does not exist. When we read a novel from start to finish, the characters and plots in the novel are vivid. When we reach page 80, we say that page 80 is the present, the pages before are the past, and the pages after are the future. However, if we shuffle the order and flip randomly, any page can be the present. If we put the novel aside for years and then read it, the characters and plots remain vivid and are still the present. Thus, the issues of past, present, and future do not exist. As humans, we feel that this moment is the present, today is today, yesterday was yesterday, and tomorrow will be tomorrow. In fact, as readers of the script, we can see our future conditions. The reason we cannot see tomorrow's situation is that we are confined within the script. We cannot return to the past or advance into the future because we are humans, not gods. As humans, we are not allowed to know the script's content. Knowing it would disrupt the program and cause chaos in the universe. The people may be made to follow a path of action, but they may not be made to understand it, which reflects compassion for humanity and the requirements of the script. However, there are exceptions to the rules. The heaven's net is vast and wide, yet nothing escapes it, but it also makes exceptions. For 98% of life, everything unfolds according to the script. For 1 to 2% of life, exceptions are made. This is also part of the program. In special circumstances, some actors may no longer play their roles in the script, and the director will replace them with another actor to continue the script's plot. Human sages have continually explored the mysteries of life, time, and space, showing us a bright and splendid path. The path guided by Jesus Christ leads to the kingdom of heaven. Although Jesus did not explain it, following the path he guided can free one from the constraints of the fixed program and enter the greatest creator's kingdom. Buddha Shakyamuni's teaching to let go of ego and attachment also guides us to cross the sea of suffering and reach the shore of Buddhahood. Muhammad also told us that with the help of Allah's, the greatest creator, power, one can escape the confines of heaven and earth and enjoy life in paradise. Laozi pointed us to the path of long life and eternal vision. High spiritual beings like Seth also teach us that through cultivation and practice, we can transcend the pre-written program and create our own life's space and time. The wisdom of Osho, combining reality and Zen, inspires us to break free from inevitability and enter the kingdom of freedom. All phenomena give rise to the mind, and the mind transcends all phenomena. The mind arises from the environment, and the environment is created by the mind. For the myriad of living beings, everything is predestined, and they can only follow the mandate of heaven. Because you are ordinary mortals, you fundamentally do not understand the nature of humans, life, time, and space. You can only obediently play the roles designed by the program. For those with little wisdom and little faith, you have only a bit of cleverness. You may occasionally have moments of clarity, but most of the time, you are confused and muddled. You do not have enough wisdom and energy to escape the inevitable constraints of the program, so everything is also fate. One must not only know what is so, but also understand why it is so in order to find a breakthrough and a path. Those who understand why and then take action can enter the path, walk out of it, and enter a broader realm of life. Just as those who understand computer programs can change them, those who understand the mysteries of life and life can change their fate and enter a broader world to enjoy a freer and more joyful life. One must think unconventionally to escape fate. Busy yourself with what others consider idle, and be idle in what others consider busy. Since 98% of the masses live their lives according to fate's program, their life and trajectory are already written in the script. To escape the confines of heaven and earth, to break free from the constraints of the 3 realms and the 5 elements, and to enter the kingdom of freedom, one must absolutely avoid resonating with the masses' way of thinking and consciousness. One must act against the path, be afraid when others are not afraid when others are afraid. Be busy when others are idle, idle when others are busy. Dislike what others like what others dislike. Laugh when others cry, cry when others laugh. The path guided by the Life-Genuine Guide goes against fate and humanity. It requires people to first acknowledge fate, understand fate, and then transcend fate. Recognizing fate is easy, but transcending fate is not. This requires chaotic thinking, a thorough understanding of life, time, and space, a detailed grasp of the program and the script, and knowledge of the methods to transcend fate. Otherwise, no one can escape fate. Relying on luck is absolutely hopeless, and blindly rushing around will never find the gate to heaven. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few, because there are mysteries and methods within. In conclusion, for 98% of the masses, everything is driven by fate. For the 1 to 2% of Life-Genuine members, everything is driven by knowledge and the mind. Let me tell you again, I have the methods to transcend fate and time and space. 逃离生命的陷阱. Escaping the Traps of Life, the Chapter of Wisdom, Article 54. Dayform Buddha. August 18, 2006. The universe contains 36 8-diagram arrays, and life is filled with countless traps. Only by escaping these traps can one achieve freedom in life. Everyone yearns for paradise and wishes to live a life like that in paradise. Buddhism speaks of the Western Pure Land, the Elysium world, but in reality, the Elysium world exists in the East, South, and North as well. The question is, how do we reach these paradisiacal worlds? Let me guide you step by step. First, we must recognize that our inability to reach the Elysium world is due to our entrapment in the pitfalls of life. These traps are like prisons that confine our freedom. If we do not escape these life traps, we will never reach the Elysium world. Many of us have likely experienced this. When watching war scenes on TV or in movies, the scenes may evoke our emotions, but our suffering and fear are not as intense as those depicted because we are not actually involved in those life-threatening situations. For instance, the South Asian tsunami claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. Those directly affected suffered greatly, but those who were not involved would not feel as pained. If we were unaware of the tsunami, the deaths of so many people would not cause us distress. Similarly, if our neighbors are fighting, their quarrel is a complete mess, with threats of life and death as if the end of the world is coming. The neighbors are in great pain, but we are not as distressed because we are not caught in that life trap. Military service is a trap. Soldiers sent to Iraq, for example, become part of a deadly conflict. If you are not a soldier, you will not be sent to fight in Iraq. Once enlisted, you enter the trap of war, and once war starts, there is no escaping it. Marriage is another trap. Once you enter this trap, you are bound by endless household responsibilities, making it difficult to find peace. If one does not marry, they avoid the pitfalls of marital conflict and divorce, gaining relative freedom in life. Forming factions or alliances is a trap. Once you join a faction, you are bound by its constraints and controls, losing autonomy. Joining a political party is also a trap. Engaging in party politics involves struggles over interests and power, and you cannot avoid conflicts with other parties. You are forced to participate in political movements and organizational activities. If you are correct, it's fine, but if you make a mistake, you may end up shouldering the blame. Religion is another trap. As a believer, you must participate in various religious activities and endure repetitive moral teachings. In extreme cases, you might even be compelled to strap a bomb to yourself to carry out some so-called sacred mission. We can remain indifferent to the war between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon, but if we were Israeli citizens or Hezbollah members, we would inevitably have to contribute labor or even our lives to this war. Thus, nations are also traps. Once you become a citizen of a country, you are inevitably subject to its constraints. If we do not belong to any country, then the troubles of nations will not bother us. People often worry about the destruction of the Earth's ecological resources and are anxious about the future crises facing humanity. But if we were outside Earth, we wouldn't be troubled by such issues. Thus, the world of Earth is also a life trap. Imagine living in a paradise outside Earth, free from family, political parties, religions, nations, and factions. How would our lives be? That would be freedom, my comrades. That would be peace, my comrades. Humans bait fish with some sweet thing to lure them into traps. Once the fish takes the bait, it falls into the trap of life. Why do people marry? Because of the sweetness. Why join parties? Because of the sweetness. Why participate in religious or political groups? Because of the sweetness. Why love a country? Because of the sweetness. Why did the 7 celestial maidens descend to the human world? Because of the sweetness. This sweetness is the fragrant bait. Once taken, it leads us into the traps of life. Falling into these traps is easy, but escaping them is difficult. Much like how marriage is easy to enter but hard to exit, climbing mountains is easy but getting down is difficult, or starting a business is easy, but closing it is hard. Hunters set traps by scattering food around them. Animals, tempted by the food, fall into the traps. Everyone wants to go to heaven, but how can that be possible? Some must remain human, some must be animals. Therefore, Satan must dig various kinds of traps to ensnare confused individuals. Once someone falls into a trap, they lose their freedom and cannot reach heaven. We must escape the traps of life. Many people from poor countries strive to reach developed countries. Once they escape, they free themselves from the constraints of their own country. Many fugitives escape to remote places because the sky is high and the emperor is far away, thus avoiding the risk of being captured and imprisoned. Reaching heaven is both easy and difficult. It depends on whether one wants to escape the traps of life. I have a special trick in my dreams: invisibility. Once I sense danger or feel uncomfortable in a certain environment, I immediately become invisible so that people or animals around me cannot see me. Sometimes, I even disappear completely, making it impossible for even deity celestial beings to find me. If you observe the events in each family from outside the realm of marriage, you will not be troubled. If you watch the dramas of religious and political parties from outside those domains, it can be quite entertaining. If you view the conflicts between nations from outside the countries, it is like watching a movie. If you observe the changes on Earth from the realm of the thousand-year world, you will not be anxious. As long as you remain detached from events, you will attain a blissful heart. You may think I am too heartless and unkind, lacking compassion, right? But what about you? Do you save the countless livestock and poultry slaughtered daily, the numerous plants and insects dying? Do you rescue the lives lost in hospitals, homes, and under car wheels every day? I see you still eating and laughing every day. In reality, you too are heartless and unkind, lacking compassion. Who can change history? Who can change death? Who can change the evolutionary program of the Tao? We should not try to change these things. What we need is to escape the traps of life. Those who cannot save themselves cannot save others. Can a poor person provide financial assistance to others? Can a person in prison help fellow inmates escape? Of course, you can infiltrate the enemy's ranks to save someone or descend from heaven to the human world disguised as an ordinary person to carry out a plan. But no matter what, you must first be fully awakened. Once enlightened, it doesn't matter whether you are inside or outside of the family, party, religion, or country, as there is little difference. You can escape the traps of life at any time. Those already trapped must first escape mentally. As long as your spirit is awake and your heart is clear, you can gradually escape the traps of life.